I'm streaming. I am not playing Dungeons and Dragons, but I'm doing something close enough. I'm going to try to do a cheeky little deck build of one of the new Heroes of Exandria characters. I've got, 45 minutes free to try to knock this out. And then my wife gets home and we're going on a date tonight, so I gotta get ready for that. So, let's see. Heroes of Exandria is the new set in Universus, one of the greatest card games of all time. I really enjoy brewing decks in my spare time with new stuff, underexplored stuff, try to find new strategies, things like that. And I wanted to throw a stream together to just go over kind of how I do that and like what my thought process is throughout the whole thing. Starting with, in most cases, a character. So I want to build with Lady Kima of Vord, previewed by the homie Nivram, who is in chat right now. What's up? Lady Kima is a 5-hander with these two abilities. The first form, add an attack from your discard pile to your card pool. Your checks to play cards get +1 this turn. Enhance your non-throw attack, gets +X damage. X equals half the printed difficulty of the preceding attack in your card pool, rounded up. So, Marvin, you might know this. If I have a attack in my card pool and then another card and then my current attack, so if I have like the attack I put in, then like a face down, then the attack that I'm playing right now, do I get to use the enhanced? Is it going to look far back enough to see that first attack and like skip over the face down card? Or if the immediately preceding card is not an attack, do you just get nothing? I'm going to assume it's the latter and you get nothing until someone tells me otherwise. But for now, these two abilities, they're both really strong. What I want to highlight here is trying to figure out how I can get the most out of these abilities. One of the things I like to say is, how do you turn your costs into benefits, and how do you maximize your benefits from there? So our cost here on the first form is adding an attack from your discard pile to your card pool. So if we can get an attack that does stuff in our card pool, we can try to get more benefits out of that. Or if we get something that's going to kick it out of our card pool but keep the checks the same, that is also really strong. And then we are looking at printed difficulty for our enhance. So we want high printed difficulty attacks. And if we can find some attacks that cheat their printed difficulty so that you can play them cheaper than they actually are and the benefit they're getting, that's how we're maximizing our benefits here. So I'm going to mock up a build of this. I haven't put like pen to paper on this list yet. I've been trying to avoid it for this stream in particular. But now I'm gonna. I'm looking at a few interactions of how I want to start out with this character. So the way I see it, with Kima, you want a couple of different targets in your discard pile of attacks to put in. So I'm going to go to UVS Ultra. I'm going to filter on, I'm going to be building the life symbol for this. Life, and then fire attuned, order attuned, attack with card pool in the text. So the big ones I want to look at here, I'm skipping over her UR, I think that card's not very good. Teaming with the Attack Titan is going to go in our deck. It's an 8 diff, but it's not actually an 8 diff, so it wants you to play a bunch of attacks, and then you get to play it for cheaper. The next attack you play is going to see this as an 8 diff and give you +4 damage, which is pretty sick. I don't know how many of these we're going to want. I think I'm going to be a little heavy on low blocks as I go through this, but I'm just going to put 2 on my list for now and get there later. Rapid Rescue is really cool in this deck. You want some options. Since you're a 5-hander, sometimes you're going to draw your opening hand and you're just like not going to have a lot to do offensively, and you're going to be forced into a build turn, or you might just want to be taking a build turn because your first build didn't go well or whatever. Rapid Rescue is an attack that you can put into your card pool, give +1 to your check, so it's canceling out the progressive, and then you just use it to build the first foundation you play. So you get a more consistent build turn with access to like 1 or 2 copies of this card. So I'm going to jam, again, 2 of these. And then I want, yeah, Titan Armbar. This is, I think, what you want to put into your card pool the majority of the time. So it's a 7 difficulty, so it's always giving you +4, but it's also giving all of your stuff +2. So your first attack right after this is getting +6 damage, which is pretty sick. Sometimes you'll actually play this on a 7 and like be a 5, high 5 with a stun too, but most of the time you won't. But we're going to shove this in here. I don't think you necessarily want it in multiples, so I'm going to say 3 of these for now. And then the other thing we can do is cards that will clear themselves when we play them. So, let's see. Alright, I had a card pull on. So I think they'll say resolves. Yeah, here we go. So Lethal Slash. Shove your big attack into your card pool, play a Lethal Slash. You're not quite as worried about having 2 checks in your deck because you have this bonus to your checks. You get your big bonus from the card you stuffed to the damage, and then this clears, and then the next attack you play is seeing the same bonus. So this guy, jamming forward. This card's great. Levi's Rampage is something I thought about. It is cool in that if you have a bunch of momentum piled up, which is something you can do, you get to play this in the same position in the card pool over and over again, and it'll keep seeing the same preceding cards. So again, you stuff your Titan Armbar, you play Rampage on a 5 +1 to your check, and you get to dump all your momentum into it, but you're giving it that +6 damage every time. So now it's like all these 5 mid-10s that your opponent has to deal with. I don't know how many we want. Again, I'm just going to say 2 for now. And then Dual Needle Lunge. So this is why I want to play the life symbol as the main symbol. Again, this is clearing itself as soon as you play it, or after it resolves. It's going to give you that free momentum to fuel something like your Levi's Rampage, but it also just lets you see that same big attack you put in the first time over and over again. So this, easy 4 of. Next thing I want to look at is just look at some more card pool effects on attacks. There's a few utility pieces I was interested in. Just has like 1-ofs that you can put in. If you find them in your discard pile, you get to do a thing with them. Let's go. I did think about repeated 100 smash as a build for this, maybe on the order symbol, because you can like stuff a bunch of punches, and then repeated 100 is going to have more cards you can ready, which is pretty cool. I did look at One for All Unleashed. There weren't quite enough discard outlets for me, but if you play the 1-check, you just stuff this first, and then if you can find ways to abuse that discarding cards to build, you get to go a little crazy. But I think it's asking too many questions that you can't quite answer. This is the one I want. Throwing a Knife Lunge. This card's really good. You stuff this in your card pool, and then as long as like 1 of your attacks hits, you have this target destruction of a foundation or an asset. That is going to come in handy, especially with all the UR assets coming in with this set. Alright, let's take a quick peek at where we're at. 18 attacks. I'm going to try to stick to a 60-card deck right now, just to be a little more simple and efficient. So I probably just want 20 attacks in a 5-hander. That's probably fine. It depends on how many actions and assets I end up on. Let's see. Difficulty, we've got a lot of expensive stuff. This is kind of our flow piece. I think I want another teaming, and then that feels fine at 2, that feels fine at 4. It might just be 1 Levi's Rampage. We'll see how much momentum we get. And then Block Zone I'm also a little worried about. So looking at the graphs here on UVS Ultra, right now I'm only at 3 high blocks. Yeah, the Titan Armbar, so that might have to go to 4. We'll see. Alright, so next up I'm going to do a quick check of are there any actions or assets that I want to try to make room for that are going to do powerful things for me. I'm just going to scroll through. I'm not expecting to see too much. I know there's one asset that cares about being a champion, which Kima is. Replicator Enthusiast is interesting. I like this card a lot. The +0 mid block is nice to have. And we're going to try to do a bunch of self-mill to get the right pieces in our discard pile. So we should have a little more selection with this card. I'm gonna put it in the sideboard for now, visit that later. Don't care about most of this. Thought about bring change to the world. You just get to keep cheating your checks by making the first thing that hits ignore progressive. But I think we're going to run into a lot of trouble with cards in hand, and this does not do anything to help us there. We're not playing soup. I don't think we're playing wielding. Seething Anger is a little interesting. Just replaces itself, mills you a little bit. VME, Airy, Trinket, Hiding Box. No, I'm really not seeing that much that I'm interested in running here, which is fine. That means there's more room for foundations. So let's get to foundations. So let's start with the basics. Let's look at zeros. As a 5-hander, you don't need to run all that many, because especially with Kima, your build turns can be a little more aggressive. One of the things I like about Kima is that when you're on the draw, when you're going second, you get to first form and potentially have no attacks in your card pool for that ability. So nothing goes into your card pool, but all your checks are still getting +1. So you can do a really aggressive first turn build, almost like you can only check 4s, or I guess 3s because we're still on lethal slashes, but we get to mess with our difficulties a little bit more, which is nice. Syndicate target might make the cut in some fashion. We do have a bunch of good low blocks in our attack, so we don't necessarily need the +0 low here, but it's just a nice card to have. We might need more impact from our foundations, though. I think Surprising Skill is going to be really important in this format. There's a ton of stuff that's sealing your foundations, and if they seal anything that isn't this, you get to flip this and either have them commit one or just ready one of yours. Keeping Ares safe is okay. We don't necessarily need it. And that's really all we got there. I don't think I want Pro Hero, although I was iffy on my high blocks, and this is just a good high block on a 0/6. So I'll keep an eye on that. Alright, so that's our zeros. So now we can get into the important things we need. So when you're building a deck that you want to be semi-competitive, one of the things I talked about in my video on resources was you need to pick a defensive resource to overload on your attack turns, which is really either cards or capital, which is like their ability to commit things. So if you can send attacks that they cannot possibly block, that's that point in which you're probably on a kill turn. So that's either because they ran out of cards to block with, or because your attacks are so fast or their stage is so committed that they can't handle it. So if we look at our attacks in here, we are capable of sending a lot of attacks because our checks are going to be good, and we don't need to connect with that many because they're going to be a lot of damage, but they have to actually get through. So if we look at like our base speed, a bunch of this stuff is coming in at a base 5 speed. That's usually the sweet point with speed, because at a base 5 plus any block mod that isn't a 0, they have to be committing something on the block when they check a 5. If you can get it above that speed, that's when you're in business. Let's see. Dual Needle has this EX ability that's going to come up every once in a while to speed it up. And there's no other natural speed buffs that we have. So If we want to overload with number of attacks, then we have to draw a bunch of cards so that we can consistently find enough attacks. If we want to overload their capital, we need a lot of stun abilities and a lot of additional speed boosts, which I don't think we're going to find as much of on the life symbol, but we're going to take a look. So we're going to go back, life, fire order, foundation. First things first, speed. What do we have here that messes with our speed? Probably not too much. I'm really not looking for like onesie twosie things. I'm not looking for commit costs because we do need to commit our foundations to pass our checks still. So really just anything that can like flip for a speed boost to get something over that critical mass, or otherwise just try to like passively get speed on everything. Second wielder. Commit. Flip an attack in your card pool. Your attack is +3 speed. That's interesting. This is not a card that I considered when I was mocking this up in my head, but this says that you can go like stuff the 7 in your card pool, play your 4 diff attack, and then when you play your next one, you flip the middle one to give your current one +3 speed, and then you enhance on Kima, and you read the first one for the +4 damage. That's pretty cool. You can also attack this as if you're spending momentum to pay for EX or powerful. So you can spend this on the EX with Dual Needle Lunge. I don't think there are any other EX powerful in our lineup, but I'm interested in this. I'm gonna shove 3 copies of that. That's pretty cool. While this card is ready in your stage, your attacks with a printed difficulty 5 or greater get +1 damage. Hell yeah, get in here. Let's do like 2 of those. I think I'm gonna have to take this cat up to his room because he keeps attacking me. Weapon attack gets +1 speed and +1 damage. Tenacious flip. No, that's fine. Alright, I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna take this cat upstairs. Do we have any weapons? What I should do is just do this real quick. Weapon, 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 weapon. That feels pretty good. Alright, so I accidentally have a lot of weapons. Def Maneuvers is a messed up card. Destroy 1 for +1/+1 is great. The Deadlock is great. It's +1 high block. Just nice and honest. Good stuff. Practical studies. It's probably not high impact enough. Just keeps giving +1 speed until you get through once. Your first attack that gets through is probably going to be big, so that's like, it's not bad. The Deadlock on this is okay. Not going to come up too often. Probably not going to fit that in, but I'll keep it in mind. Flip to give a charge or ranged EX2. Okay, thank you. And then we get into some of the bad cards. 3 or less speed gets +1 speed. Yeah. On a 2 diff. Alright. That's speed. Next thing we want to look at is draw. We want to draw cards. Champion response. We're a champion. Tenacious remove. After you pass a check against a difficulty of 7 or greater, to play an attack, draw a card. So I stuff one of these. So I play like my 5 diff on 2 progressive, so it's going to be a 7. Commit after you play an attack with +3 damage. If this wasn't a +3 mid block, I would consider it. As is, I'm not super interested. I think we can get more power out of our 3 diffs. Flip each player draws. No, thank you. Oh, this is what's up. I really want Fatherson in my deck. At least as like a 2 of. You play this on your first turn. It might draw you an extra card that you can build, but also it's just going to give you options in your discard pile for what you can form in with Kima. I'm going to put that at 2. I might go up to 3 on that. We're not doing Feral Shriek stuff, are we? I don't think so. No, we aren't. Being Hanj, if you discard a backup or a Titan card this way, that's pretty interesting. We have a few Titans in here. We have Teaming, we have Armbar, there's 6 cards. Not terrible. I'm gonna consider this. Worst case, you play it on like your first attack, discard 2, draw 2, and then you have a shot at drawing 3. We get to play a few more 3 diffs than normal because we are Kima. Most cards in your stage, if you have 9 or more foundations, your attacks get +1 speed. Order enhanced, we are order. Commit, draw a card. Okay. I'm in for one of those. It is a 4 check, it's a bit iffy, but there's some power on that. Has more foundations with the ready to draw a card. We're not really stunning them out. That's where it ends. I don't love where we ended up after all that. Let's do another look at this. I'm gonna say 1 diffs. Typically you'll find 1 diffs that flip to draw a card. We might have to rely on Dangerous Combatant. Like, they do need to block our stuff, so they are going to be committing. But the only natural stun we have is Armbar, which we aren't really playing. It's like not great for us. Interesting. The other thing we can look at here is instead of searching for draw, we might be able to search for hand. See if there's some alternate card advantage sources we can play. Tarot reading. Tarot reading is interesting. It's a 4 check, which is rough. But if you ever played Destined for Mainstream Success back before it rotated, the card was legit. I think we try this to start with. After you check or mill an attack, add it to your hand. Interesting. Ooh, manipulations. This was another direction I thought about going with Kima in general, was build around the manipulations of Zeke Yeager. I think you would have to do it on the order symbol. But that whole, like, once you go second, you first form to give checks, and then the worst thing you can check is a 3 +1 from your form and commit yourself. Just means that you can guaranteed build manipulations on your first turn if you're going second, which is interesting. And then it just mills you 1 every turn, adds cards to your hand. You already want to play a bunch of Titan cards that we're running in here. If we were on order, you get to play like Walk the Dog as a really strong range card to pick up. So that's another direction to take the deck. I think it's a little less powerful, but a little more cool, because you get to play this cool 5 diff. Anyway. Wild Pussycats is probably playable as well. Help you out on like your second build turn, fill your discard pile a little bit. Flip, discard momentum, go get an attack. Interesting. Form, discard momentum, pick up an attack. Interesting. Incredible Display is probably worth having at least one of. Okay. And then I just want to do a quick peek at the 3 diff foundations that we get to play. See if there's anything particularly strong. Response remove. If you play a check to play a card with printed difficulty 6 or greater, your check gets +3. Printed difficulty 6 or greater. We have 2 of those. That's just like, if you make a check, this counts as like 3 foundations instead of 1 for that 1 check. It's probably not worth it. Deflect 1 is not quite good enough. This is a 1 low block breaker 1. That's cool, but it cares about all this rage counter stuff that I don't care about. Build party backup, so thank you. Gain health, look at the target, put on the bottom. Remove, return to printed. It's not really worth the 4 check. This card does not count towards progressive difficulty to play attacks. Interesting. Flip, plus here, -3 damage. That's not a good enough effect. We're not really a recuperation time package. We probably play like a sacrifice for the cause. Uplifting Bond is a little interesting. We just say like, if we don't find one of the attacks that removes itself, we Uplifting Bond our first attack that we play, and then they have to block it, or else it's not going to count to progressive. But they really want to block everything we send to them anyway, so it's a bit of a high cost on the 3 diff. Fill and enhance. Bloody Val. Bloody Val turns momentum into cards, but we're kind of doing that with Levi's Rampage. Alright, so next, we notice that we're on a bunch of weapons, so I'm going to do a quick check to see if there are any more payoffs for that. Commit, next charge weapon attack gets +2/+2. It's interesting. It's 4 check. Rival's turn. Some damage. Have this weapon attack to its outer momentum during the end phase. No. Yeah, that doesn't matter. And then I want to look at additional ways to mill ourselves. Yeah, Radiant Visage is really good. Right now our defense is basically the fact that we have 36 health. So we're going to be giving our opponent a lot of momentum just by taking attacks. Visage is going to help us take that back from them, on top of filling up our discard pile. Haymaker's really good. Hard to block. Builds itself. High block. I'm going to make room for 2 of these. I'm going to try this as a 1 of. I don't love the block zone on this, and I might be too heavy on 3 diffs at this point, but we are milling and checking attacks every once in a while, so just some more kind of like selective card advantage. And alright, let's see where we're at. We're at 54 cards. not quite there. 21 attacks, 28 normals. A lot of these are just like at ones though, because I just wanted to get the card name in there. Block zone. Definitely need a few more lows. That's interesting. Need to up these foundations. Decent spread of difficulties. That's fine, that's fine. Alright, let's try to form this out. Get something that's like playtestable. And then call it. 21 attacks. I think I'm fine with 21 attacks on 60 cards, especially for not running actions, which I don't think I'm going to with Replicator, just because I didn't find quite enough ways to draw extras. It's really just Lethal Slash. You're kind of getting card advantage off Rampage, and that's like it. So, what card advantage did we find? Meeting Hanj. So I'm gonna bump up Meeting Hanj to a 3, bump up Fatherson to a 3. I'm gonna take Tarot Reading to the full 4. This is unique. It's a 4 check. I think I'm gonna keep this at just a 1. Let's see. I feel like Fast Friendship is not the speed hate we want. Take that out of there. Where are our zeros? 2 is good there. Make both of these 0 diffs with good blocks to a 2 real quick. Let's see, this is just flat damage, but then the deadlock is +2 speed. Do we have any other deadlock? We have that. This one probably isn't worth it. 2132. We kind of want the low blocks though. I'll leave that as it is. 30 assets that draw cards for us. Sector 2, nail damage. Nope. Nope. Tattered costume. Nope. No. Plants might be okay. I'd be down for a plants. Enhanced draw 2. No. Add a card from momentum to hand, draw a card. Grab one of these. I like Dark Tournament Looms. It's decent with Dual Needle, because it's just going to find the attack there, but also just sometimes you get to pick up a block zone that you need, which is nice. Oh, I should look at my chat. Everlight's Grace is one you're pretty big on. Everlight's Grace. Yeah, this one. So after you take damage, you commit this, you mill 2, you pick up a milled card. This is a 4 check, so I don't want a million of them. Commit to draw after you take damage. That's not bad. So what if we do like, let's get like 2 of these in here, and then let's see where we're at with damage reduction effects on our foundations. Damage and foundation. Or I guess it's more likely we'll find like a life gain. No. Gained health. 2 speed. Commit, lose 2 health. This attack is -4 damage. So it's commit for -2 damage. Interesting. Oh, this one tries to like block them from getting momentum. Okay, I see. I want like just like a flip for -2 damage, I think. I guess that'd be like a flip for gain 2 health. Isn't there like a 3-diff fire foundation that just commits for -3? Remove top 3 cards to discard. No. Not discarding. Oh, there's pull from danger. Pull from danger. Flip -3 damage on a 4-diff. And then there was... I thought there was another one. I thought there was one that committed. Oh, I think it's on like chaos. That removes... Look at this. Flip -2 damage. Don't hate that. It's also just immortal. That's interesting. What about some like health gain? Commit, gain 2 health. Sacrifice, gain 2 health. Do you partially block gain health? Shocked by this Go Live notification. Oh yeah, happy birthday, sweetie. I'm streaming some deck building before you come home from the office. No, I think this is pretty close. I think I like that difficulty curve. I'm gonna believe in the teammate, go one more Everlight's Grace. I'm actually gonna try one more of this Respected Commander. Just efficient little defense piece. Should take me to 37, 58, 59, 60. Yeah. Alright, so this is my theoretical starting point for like a locals level Lady Kima. If I owned these cards, I would then take this to like my next monthly tournament or something and actually test it out. But I don't own Teamings or Haymakers, but that's fine. I also don't own any of these new cards. That's also fine. But yeah, this is one take on Kima. I think this card or this character is more powerful than the hype that she got. There's a lot of very strong characters in this set. There's another very strong 5-hander in the set that I think drew in a lot of people. But this character does just like very simple stuff, but does it efficiently. +1 to your checks, a bunch of damage. Once you find the interactions with this to go off with her, I think she does some cool stuff. She's going to just surprise kill your opponent sometimes. Alright. I am going to post the VOD of this on my YouTube. And if this was something you liked, let me know. If there's another character you want me to do this with, hit me up. I already have a whole folder of decks that I'm working on of the new crit roll characters of various levels, both things that I'm going to try to play like seriously competitively and just little ideas that I had that I wanted to flesh out. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you for engaging. Thank you for joining me. And I will see you next time. Time to figure out how to end stream.